I'm going to walk you through a re-engagement campaign that I did recently for myself, for my own business, and also for my theatre group. And a re-engagement campaign helps you clean up your list. It helps you reignite, re-energize your list, particularly if you've not been in contact for a while. And it also cleans it up, gets rid of the dead wood that aren't responding. So how this is what I've done to do this. The benefit of this is also that you don't have to pay for subscribers who just aren't engaging with your stuff. It helps you, gives you the excuse to email again if people haven't heard from you for a while. And this is the process that I've put them through. So for the example I'm going to share with you, it's with my theatre group. Because of lockdown, we weren't able to put any performances on last year, so there was no excuse to contact our customers, the people who are audiences, and there was also no excuse. We've got two lists: the audience, people who come and see the shows, and we've got people who are interested in joining, whether that's on an onstage capacity or offstage capacity. So there was no excuse to contact. So it's been over a year that they've had any email from us, and we want to make sure that they still are interested, and if they're not, to give them permission to unsubscribe. So the first email, if you have a look in here, I'll just give you the outline of it first, then I'll show you it in action. So the first email acknowledges that there's been an absence. So for my example was if for the theatre group, that because of lockdown we've not been able to put on any shows, and then we go into the exciting things that are planned. So we've got some shows lined up, and I want to know if you're still interested. And if you're not, then give them permission to unsubscribe, because sometimes people, if they know you personally, and there's going to be people on your list that know you, they don't necessarily like to upset you by unsubscribing. But if you give them permission to unsubscribe, then it kind of like they will unsubscribe because they really aren't interested, and you don't want them on your list because you'll be paying for them. You want to make space for new people. So that first email, there's three things that can happen. So the first thing that can happen, I'll do a little arrow, is that they do as we ask them and unsubscribe. Oops. They unsubscribe, and that's the desired action. So let me just put a border around that. They unsubscribe, so that's a good thing. Another thing that they might do is that they tell us that yes, they are interested, and we do that in the form of a button. Click button to indicate interested, still interested. And so that is the action that we want them to take, because then that helps us in the software, in Constant Contact or whatever software you're using, that you can then tag those people and pull them out of that, put them into a new list that is interested. Then you've got a third bunch of people who will do nothing. So let me put this in. Do nothing. They either do nothing or don't open. And in fact, there is another bunch of people who they bounce back. So let me put that in as well. I'm going to put it up here because they're as good as unsubscribed. In fact, I'll add it in here. Unsubscribed or bounce. The email bounced back because the email address is no longer valid. So what do we do with these? They get removed. So I put in an arrow here. That's quite simple. Whoops. They're removed. We can forget about them. Bye bye. Okay, and then we've got these that clicked a button to indicate that they're still interested. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move this along here, because we do something else with these people. So they click the button to indicate that they're still interested. From that, we can then send a further email. We can do this automatically as well. That they get a follow-up email saying, great. Gives the details of what's planned. And further instructions. What to do. So they are back engaged. They're in a list. In fact, they also go in a new list. Which is the ReEngaged or still interested. So they get, having got into, you tag them, they go into this new list that you can call ReEngaged or still interested list, and you can then do a follow-up email that gives them details of those plans that you've alluded to in that first email, and gives them further instructions what to do. So they're now back in the loop. They are they're legitimate people. We want to keep nurturing them. So then there's still going to be some that don't do anything. They don't open, they maybe didn't see it, it's maybe gone into their spam. So we're going to give them another chance. So we can send them a second email, and we give them a last chance. Because if they're not, then they are going to be deleted. Let me draw some lines around it. So they get another chance to re-engage. And if they do nothing, then they're going to be removed. So if they do nothing, they're going to be removed. If they click on the link, then they go back up to this process here. So where they click on a button to indicate that they are still interested, and then they get that, they go into the new list for re-engaged people, or still interested, whatever you're going to call it, and they get a follow-up email which can be put on autopilot, and I'll show you how to do that. And if they do nothing, then they get unsubscribed. So, and also of course there might be some that decide to unsubscribe there, but anyway, the end result is, we'll put this here, we remove delete from list. Okay, so that is pretty much the process. So they get the first email and they either unsubscribe or it bounces, so we've removed them, or they get removed, or they may click on a button to indicate that they are still interested. So that then takes them into a new list where they get a follow-up email, details of the plans or whatever instructions you want them to do. If they do nothing from that first email, then they'll get another email asking them again if they're still interested, and basically repeating what they've said, what you've said here, but putting it in a different way to get them to engage. So this one is more about hey, join in with this is a positive thing, and this last chance is more about the negatives, what will happen if they don't, you know, this is what they're going to lose if they do nothing. So from either of these, they'll click a button to indicate they're still interested, and then they're re-engaged, and we have them in the still interested list. And then after the predetermined time, it might be at the end of the week or whatever, if the people who've continued to do nothing, who haven't unsubscribed themselves, we just manually delete them from the list. So that is the theory of how to clean up your email list, and the actual how-tos are available to my masterminders in my supercharged website mastermind. If you want to join that, then please do click on the link to find out more, and I'd love to see you in there. That is just one of the many tutorials that you get when you are one of my masterminders. See you soon. Bye.